Part 1. Same car, two opposite choices. Jake leases a car. Marcus buys the same car. At first, both of them believe they made the smarter decision. Jake thinks he found the cheaper path because his monthly payment is lower. Marcus thinks he made the more responsible choice because he is buying something he will eventually own. But the problem is that neither of them is looking at the full math yet. To keep the comparison fair, they both start in the same place. Jake and Marcus each earn $55,000 a year. They both want the exact same car, a $30,000 sedan. Same model, same trim, same color, same dealership, same day. The only real difference is the contract they sign. Jake chooses a 36-month lease. He puts $2,000 down and pays $299 a month. The salesman makes it sound easy. Low payment, brand new car, warranty coverage, and after 3 years, Jake can simply hand the keys back. Marcus chooses to buy. He takes a 60-month auto loan at 6% interest. He puts $3,000 down and pays $522 a month. That is $223 more than Jake every single month. So on day one, Jake feels like he won. His payment is lighter, his cash flow feels better, and as he drives away from the dealership, it feels like he just beat the system. But the real difference between leasing and buying is not obvious on day one. It only becomes clear when the years start passing. Part 2. A lower payment does not mean a lower cost. The mistake begins with the monthly payment. That is the number everyone sees first. It is the number the dealership wants Jake to focus on. It is the number that makes leasing feel smart, simple, and affordable. $299 sounds easier than $522. It feels smaller. It feels safer. It feels like less pressure. But the monthly payment is not the full story. Marcus is paying more each month, but every payment is moving him toward ownership. A piece of that money is reducing his loan balance. A piece of it is slowly turning the car into something that will belong to him. It may not feel good in the beginning because the payment is higher and the car is losing value. But there is a finish line hidden inside that loan. Jake's payment works differently. Every dollar he pays gives him temporary access to the car. He gets to drive it, enjoy it, and use it. But he is not building ownership in the same way. At the end of the lease, the car does not become his. The title does not move into his name. He has to return it, buy it, or start over with another lease. That is the difference the dealership does not emphasize. Marcus is buying his way toward an asset. Jake is renting his way toward another decision. And over time, that difference becomes much bigger than the gap between $299 and $522. Part 3. For the first 3 years, Jake looks like the winner. For the first 3 years, Jake's decision feels almost perfect. He is driving a brand new car with that clean new car smell, full manufacturer warranty, and very little fear of surprise repair bills. If something goes wrong mechanically, he expects it to be covered. If the air conditioning fails in the middle of summer, he is not thinking about a massive mechanic bill. His costs feel simple: lease payment, insurance, and gas. Marcus is living a very different experience. He is paying $522 every month, and at the same time, he is watching the car lose value. The moment he drives off the lot, that $30,000 car is no longer worth $30,000. It may be worth around $27,000 almost immediately. By the end of the first year, it may be closer to $23,000. By the end of the second year, maybe around $20,000. And here is the painful part. Marcus may still owe around $22,000 on the loan. That means for a while he owes more than the car is worth. He is underwater. On paper, that feels terrible. Emotionally, it feels even worse. Jake sees this and probably feels even more confident. His payment is lower, his car is newer, and his situation looks cleaner. Marcus looks like the guy paying more for something that is dropping in value every month. So if you only stop the story here, Jake looks smart. Marcus looks trapped. But that is exactly why this decision is so dangerous. The first 3 years do not show the whole truth. They only show the part that makes leasing look easy. And that raises the real question. If Jake looks like the winner right now, what happens when the lease finally ends? Part 4. Year 3 is where the story turns. At the end of 36 months, the scoreboard still looks good for Jake. He paid $2,000 up front, then $299 a month for 3 years. His total cost is $12,764. Marcus paid $3,000 up front, then $522 a month for the same 36 months. His total cost is $21,792. So at this point, Jake has spent $9,028 less than Marcus. That is not a small difference. If the story ended right there, leasing would look like the obvious winner. Jake had the newer car, the lower payment, the warranty, and almost $10,000 more cash flow over 3 years. But the story does not end there. Jake's lease is now over, and the car has to be dealt with. He has 3 choices. He can buy the car at the residual value, usually around $16,000 to $18,000 for a $30,000 car after 3 years. He can hand the keys back and walk away. Or he can lease another brand new car and start the cycle again. And that is what Jake does. He leases again, another $2,000 due at signing, another $299 a month, another 36-month contract. The odometer resets. The car feels new again. But the payment cycle does not disappear, it simply restarts. Marcus, on the other hand, still has 24 payments left. That feels frustrating, but there is one major difference. Marcus has an end date. Every payment brings him closer to owning the car completely. Jake's payments bring him closer to returning another car and making another decision. Part 5. One side has a finish line, the other side has a loop. This is the part most people do not feel when they are sitting inside the dealership. Leasing looks easier in the beginning because the payment is lower. Buying looks heavier because the payment is higher. But the real difference is not comfort today. The real difference is what happens when the payment period ends. Marcus reaches month 60 and makes his final loan payment. That is it. The car is his. The title is in his name. He no longer has a monthly car payment attached to that vehicle. From that point forward, his costs are insurance, gas, maintenance, and repairs. The car may be older now, but it is paid off. It belongs to him. Jake is in a different position. His payment never really ends because every lease leads him back to another lease. The $299 a month starts to feel normal. It becomes part of his life, like a phone bill or a utility bill. He does not think about it much anymore because it feels manageable. And that is the hidden danger. Leasing can make a permanent car payment feel normal. It keeps Jake inside a cycle where he always has something new, but never reaches ownership. Marcus had to accept the pain of a higher payment at the beginning, but there was a finish line waiting for him. Jake had comfort at the beginning, but comfort quietly became a loop. Part 6. After 6 years, the buyer starts pulling ahead. By the end of year 6, the math has quietly changed. Jake has now completed 2 full leases. The first lease cost him $2,000 at signing plus 36 payments of $299. Then he did it again. Another $2,000 at signing, another 36 payments. Altogether, Jake has spent $25,528. And what does he own? Nothing. No title, no asset, no car that belongs to him. Just a history of payments and the memory of driving newer vehicles. Marcus has spent more in total. He paid $3,000 down and $522 a month for 60 months. His total loan cost is $34,320. On the surface, that still looks higher than Jake's number, but Marcus now owns the car outright. And after 6 years, that car may still be worth around $11,000 to $13,000. So if you subtract the value of the car from what Marcus spent, his real cost is closer to $21,000 to $23,000. That is the moment the story flips. Jake spent $25,528 and owns nothing. Marcus effectively spent less and has a paid-off car sitting in his driveway. The advantage Jake seemed to have in the first 3 years has started to disappear. And from this point forward, every month that passes makes Marcus stronger because he no longer has a payment. Jake still does. So if the math already changes after 6 years, what happens when this habit continues for 10 years? Or even for an entire adult life? Part 7. The hidden costs behind the lease. The monthly lease payment is the number Jake remembers, $299. Clean, simple, easy to understand. But that number does not include every rule attached to the contract, and those rules can become expensive later. Most standard leases come with mileage limits, often around 10,000 to 12,000 miles per year. That may sound reasonable at first until you compare it with real driving habits. The average American drives about 13,500 miles a year, so a normal driver can go over the limit without even feeling like they are driving too much. And when the lease ends, those extra miles are not ignored. They become a bill. Many leases charge around 15 to 25 cents for every mile over the limit. If Jake drives 5,000 miles over the cap during a 3-year lease, he could owe $750 to $1,250 when he returns the car. Then comes wear and tear. The dealership inspects the vehicle when Jake brings it back. A small door ding from a parking lot, a coffee stain on the back seat, a scratch wheel from one bad parking attempt. Jake may see those things as normal use. The leasing company may see them as billable damage. That is the problem. Normal wear and tear is not defined by Jake. It is defined by the company taking the car back. There can also be a disposition fee, often around $300 to $500, simply for returning the car if he does not lease another one from the same dealer. And if Jake's life changes before the lease ends, if he loses his job, moves somewhere he no longer needs a car, or his family situation changes, getting out early can be painfully expensive. So the lease may look simple at the beginning, but the simplicity comes with conditions. And many of those conditions only become visible when Jake is already locked in. Part 8. Buying has real costs too. But it would not be fair to pretend that buying is perfect. Marcus wins in the long run only if he is willing to deal with the parts of ownership that people often underestimate. Once the manufacturer warranty expires, usually around year 3 or year 4, the protection starts to disappear. If the brakes wear out, Marcus pays. If the tires need replacing, Marcus pays. If a belt cracks, the air conditioning fails, or something breaks at the worst possible time, there is no dealership lease office absorbing that pain for him. The car is his, and so are the bills. For an average sedan, maintenance and repairs after the warranty period can run around $1,200 to $1,800 a year. Some years are calm, maybe it is just oil changes, tires, and routine service. Other years can hit hard. A major repair can turn into a $2,000 problem that ruins the month. That unpredictability is one of the strongest arguments in favor of leasing. Jake knows his payment, he knows his car is newer, he knows he is usually inside the warranty window. Marcus has more freedom, but he also carries more responsibility. And depreciation is real too. Marcus's $30,000 car does not stay worth $30,000. It may be worth around $20,000 after 2 years, and much less after 5. That loss in value feels painful, but depreciation slows down after the first few years. A 5-year-old car does not lose value nearly as fast as a brand new one. So the longer Marcus keeps the car, the less depreciation hurts him each year. That is why buying and holding can work so well. The early years are expensive, but time slowly starts working in the buyer's favor. Part 9. The 10-year picture reveals the real lesson. Now stretch the decision across 10 years, and the difference becomes much harder to ignore. By year 10, Jake has leased 3 to 4 cars. Each lease cycle gives him a newer vehicle, a lower monthly payment, and the comfort of being inside the warranty period. But each cycle also resets the clock. Another down payment, another contract, another set of monthly payments, another car that he drives but does not own. Across those 10 years, Jake's total cost can land somewhere between $45,000 and $52,000 once you include lease payments, signing costs, mileage overages, wear and tear charges, and possible disposition fees. And at the end of it, Jake still does not own the car in his driveway. It may feel like his car because he drives it every day, but financially, it was never really his. Marcus's 10-year picture looks different. He paid $34,320 for the loan. Then, after the loan was finished, he spent roughly $10,000 to $14,000 on maintenance and repairs over the next several years. His total cost lands around $44,000 to $48,000. But Marcus still has something Jake does not have. He has a car that is fully paid for, older but still useful, and possibly worth $4,000 to $6,000. When you net it out, Marcus spent less and still has an asset. Jake spent more and has nothing to show except a history of payments. The difference over a decade can be $15,000 to $25,000, depending on the lease terms, repairs, mileage, and how long Marcus keeps the car. And that is only one car. Repeat that pattern 3, 4, or 5 times over an adult life, and the gap can become a six-figure difference in lifetime wealth. Still, leasing is not always wrong. If someone is self-employed or owns a business, lease payments may have tax advantages depending on how the car is used. If someone drives a luxury or high-performance car with brutal out-of-warranty repair costs, leasing can also make more sense. Leasing a BMW is not the same conversation as leasing a Honda Civic. And there is one more case. If Jake truly took the $223 a month he saved compared with Marcus and invested it consistently into an index fund, earning 8 to 10% over time, he could theoretically come out ahead. But that only works if he actually invests the money. If he simply spends the difference, the advantage disappears. So the real trap is not leasing, and the real trap is not buying. The real trap is making a $30,000 decision based only on the monthly payment. Jake and Marcus both thought they were being smart, but neither of them looked far enough ahead at first. The better question is not, can I afford this payment? The better question is, what will this really cost me after 5 years, 10 years, or a lifetime? Because when the contract is over, when the payments are counted, and when the car either belongs to you or goes back to the dealer, that is the number that actually matters.